And welcome everybody to another episode of Mac Yak, number 103. Appreciate everybody showing up tonight, and welcome. So, guys, what's everybody been up to this last week?
Jay is frozen solid, and
yeah, dude, I did like the most enthusiastic wave ever, and my damn thing froze.
And he's freezing still.
How do we sound? Everyone sound good?
Hopefully.
Everyone hear us?
I hope so.
Everybody's moving on my screen.
I did not touch the audio settings, so it should work perfect.
Hopefully it does. Hopefully everybody can hear us.
My battery backup just kicked in.
Your what?
Something's going on.
His battery backup just kicked in.
Uh-oh.
All right.
So Jay's having a good night. All right, we sound good. Excellent.
All right.
So if Jay pops out, we all know why.
Yep.
So welcome everybody. Welcome. Some of our former guests are in the chat tonight. We got Kate. We got Sean. We got Madeline. Who else do we have that we had on the show? It's in the chat. I can't.
Well, Trina still doesn't want to.
I know we've been trying to get her on the show.
We have me. I'm a guest.
No, you were a guest like on episode 7, and you just stayed. We couldn't get rid of you.
I'm told I talk.
That's it.
Yeah.
And steal other people's pictures.
Well, RMC. Who's RMC?
We've been over this before. That's
Retro Man Cave.
the channel that I was on before. I don't think he's awake right now, so that's a no.
Probably, yeah.
What country is he in?
It's 1 a.m. there, so.
Okay, gotcha. All right, guys, so welcome everybody. We don't have a whole lot of topics tonight, but we're going to talk a few things tonight. One of them is something that I know pretty much none of us have actually been taking part of, which we started it, but it's the Power PC Challenge. How has everybody been...
Wait, you don't want to enrage Steve. You got to say it the right way.
Oh, and the 68K Challenge. Okay, sorry. Sorry, Steve.
Shameful.
The only thing I've actually been doing this week is I've got on the Minecraft server, on Sean's Minecraft server a few times using my Power Mac G5. And every once in a while checking some emails on my G4, my PowerBook G4. So other than that, I haven't really been doing much because I've been doing something we're going to talk about a little bit later on in the show, but I've been doing a little bit more of that stuff, and I can't really do that stuff on a Power PC at all, so unfortunately. So
you got
that stuff.
Huh?
I'm pretty much the same. That the two main things that have been occupying my time at the moment simply cannot be done on... well, actually, I shouldn't say that. I could probably do some of it on a G5. Certainly not on the Mac 2CI that I've, sort of put together for the channel. So.
That you've confined yourself to.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh,
because the other thing is video editing. So.
Kate goes with a TV capture card. You could do anything. See.
Well, I sincerely tried, as some of you in the group have known, is I was I tried to. I won't get too long with this, but I put a AV capture card in my Quadra 800. And I had limited success, but video files are big, and a 33 megahertz processor does not like compressing them. So it was an effort in patience, extreme patience, which I did not have. And then I had a very quick deadline for a video, so I'm like, nuts to that.
Well, what's funny is Sean even mentioned he goes screen share, cough. Well, the problem with trying to screen share my Mac Pro is I'm running a 49-inch ultra wide screen and trying to look at that little tiny mailbox type, letterbox screen on my 20-inch.
Like watching Lawrence of Arabia on a phone.
Yeah, pretty much. So
it would look like Bruce's dock.
Yeah, it would. It actually would.
That's bad.
So he's going, oh, what an excuse.
Well, listen, I said in advance that I would not be participating.
Oh, liar.
I'm the only one here that doesn't have to feel guilty.
I'm not feeling guilty. I played with Macintosh 128K, a 512K, a Quadra, a few LCs, and a number of PowerPC clones over the past week. So I'm not guilty of that.
But I have been, and Sean can attest to this, I have actually been on his his Minecraft server. So I've actually been hooking my Power Mac G5 to another Power Mac G5. So see, there you go.
I have also been on that server, and I cannot figure out what the hell I'm doing. So
That's part of the fun.
so I left.
You were probably
I
the 25th person there, so when I joined, it was 2 full.
I accidentally made a hole in the ground, and then I left.
And you probably fell. Did you fall in it?
Contribution.
Did you fall in the hole?
Oh.
Well,
I set this up. As a graphic design workstation, and the job that I was going to do on it got pushed back a week, so I can't start on it until like tomorrow at the earliest.
So speaking of that, we put a poll up, or Jay put a poll up in Discord about doing just that there, Dana, so you can actually still do it. Extending the Power PC Challenge till next week.
I agree.
So I'm going to get a informal vote here in the chat. Eep if you want another week of it. Quack if you don't.
Eep.
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 So let's see what we get in the chat here. Okay. Eek. Who's
Can
Eek?
we just run it to the end of the year?
You're pushing your luck there.
Yeah.
I think I'll have a.
Well, there's nobody
crisis.
objecting.
Yeah, I don't see any quacks. So it looks like.
Now, see, Scarlet Swordfish said on Discord that he voted no because drawing with the Mac Plus mouse was killing his hand.
Gotta get a Mac Plus compatible trackball, then you'll be good.
Tell me.
Yeah, there you go.
Or a tablet.
There's nothing wrong with those mice. Come on.
All right, so looks like Jay. What do you think? Another week?
Yeah, let's do it. And I might actually join now because I
Lies.
I cleaned my office and then I rearranged my office, so it's now a complete war zone. But the upside is that I now have space for my G4. So
There you go. Well, it makes you feel any better, Jay. My whole house is a war zone right now, so.
it always was.
No,
I have to
it's
say though, Mike. I mean,
The cats
you
are
on
very
the
confused.
it's a completely different experience with you on the show now. You've got a clear picture. Your audio is good. You're not falling asleep in that lounge. It's a whole new you there. It's absolutely fantastic.
yeah, thanks.
And
Someone to shave.
I even have Simon in the background, apparently.
there you go. He wants to be on Mac Yak. He
He's
wants
a
to be
little mad
famous.
at me because he doesn't have any soft surfaces to lie on right now. Because there's
He
an
was sitting.
iMac in the recliner.
He's saying there's a weird
Mike.
white cat sitting in the chair.
Like he was sitting on the arm of that chair next to the iMac, and it looked like the iMac was growing another iMac.
It was giving birth.
Oh my god.
So Kate says that's a super clean room. She's impressed. There you go, Mike.
Don't worry, I'll go over there
My
and mess it
living
up. with it.
room?
You're looking at the wrong wall.
That's because I got rid of half the furniture.
I'll bring some more over, Mike. We'll help you out.
That's like Steve's perception of when you watch his videos. You're only seeing that one
Very
area.
small angle.
area, but if you look at like anywhere's like 5 feet to the left or 5 feet to the right,
5 feet, 5 inches.
Steve takes extreme measures so that nobody sees his basement. Now, that I am in a unique position that I am the only one that's seen his basement.
There's a
Believe me,
plethora.
Nobody can say that they have a freaking war zone until they go into Steve's basement. So Steve wins the Warzone battle. Believe me.
I subscribed to his, what was it, $35 Patreon to get a tour of the basement. I got nothing.
I sent you both. I sent the whole group 2 video tours, and not a single person watched it. So I said, "All right, that's for retooling later on."
I didn't have to watch it. I've been in your basement.
Exactly. See, Mike gives you the first-hand experience. You pay extra for that.
and hopefully one of these days I will be at your base because I'm going to try to get up there to get my Apple IIe from you in one of these days.
You are welcome to take it home with you, please.
If you can find it.
No, it's exactly where it was before.
Actually, even I know where that is.
Yeah. There's a plethora of B-roll footage, Mike, from the video I just did where I had to refilm it because there's just so much crap like in the left-hand side of where the door is. He knows what I'm talking about. And I'm like, oh, that looks really bad. Let's just redo this.
So
speaking of basement stuff, Jay, do you still have that G5 LCS on the stairs in your basement?
Yes.
I might be buying that from you.
Listen, as long as I don't trip over it, it's fine. Where's that?
Well, I might be buying it from you, so it won't be there anymore.
Why?
I love that. I love Kate goes, GT comes in with a giant coat to hide parts under.
Well,
No,
I'm leaving now.
Steve's going to frisk me before I leave. So
This could be a metal detector set up.
Oh, yeah, that reminds me. Yeah, if you go over to Steve's house, he has a little metal detecting wand. He waves around you. You can't really get away with too much in his place. The rabbits will attack you if you're not careful. I had one like take half my hand off.
The killer, is that like Monty Python's The Killer Rabbit?
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. So we're
he moved the sofa in the back part of the cellar. So now whenever he goes upstairs to go do something, or he's going to be a while, you can run up the back steps outside the house real quick so he doesn't catch you.
Yeah, the back steps.
I could do that the last time I was there. I had to sneak everything out the front door.
A careful inventory was kept.
Yeah.
Oh my God, yeah. Like you even know half the crap you got down there.
All right, so we're still talking about the PPC, the PowerPC /68K challenge. So I'll make sure I put that in there, even though in the notes it still says just PPC challenge. So you can blame
computer challenge.
You can blame Jay for that one.
Anti-productivity challenge.
So we're gonna go ahead and extend that a week, and we still got the channel on Discord, and we'll keep that channel open afterwards too. I mean, people can sit there and talk about their challenges of running it. But what are some of the good software to use on a 68K and a PowerPC?
Well, I know. It depends on what you want to do.
Well, I mean, what's some good stuff besides, like, for instance, 10.4 Everybody knows 10.4 Fox. Yeah, everybody knows you got to have at least 10.4 Fox because otherwise you're not going to be able to browse half the internet.
I'm going to give Stuffit a nomination there. I don't know if they already had Stuffit for the beige stuff.
Yeah, they did.
Stuff, see?
Yeah.
But I know for PowerPC it's a must-have.
It's a lot better than the unarchived utility on Tiger. So
I will always regret not buying a Sit Happens shirt at Macworld in 2001 or 2002.
We'll just make one.
Yeah, I guess I could. Yeah, I think they just updated that for Big Sur, Jay. I think they announced that they were updating Stuffit.
Wait, what? No.
Yeah, they did some compatibility. It was a post on their site or something I saw.
But they discontinued Stuffit a few months ago.
This was before the ARM stuff though, so I think they were stuff. Because I think they wanted to, I guess, be compatible.
Oh, that's awesome.
So, I could be wrong, but I remember reading that and being like, oh, okay.
Sean put a comment here. It says, has anyone tried AquaWeb or AquaTube? He just found out about them, supposedly better than 10.4 Fox.
All these tubes
running around these days. If that's the case, I would definitely be interested in trying them because, 10.4 Fox is great, don't get me wrong, but man, is it ridiculously slow.
Yeah.
I mean, even when I'm not on Wi-Fi and directly connected to the internet, it's still horribly slow.
Well, I think AquaTube
I use the one window browser program on my iMac because that loads things up instantaneously, but it's just bare bones basic web.
But I think AquaTube is basically for YouTube, if I'm reading this correctly. Only YouTube, correct, Sean? I mean, I'm not sure if that's for basic web browsing.
Look.
Yeah, a lot of those forked versions of the browsers are very, very useful. So I think that's always a good thing to explore. I mean, iCab is a great one, but it hasn't been updated in a while, so obviously it is limited to what pages it will render. It will render my website fine, but I can't guarantee anybody else.
Yeah, but iCab's probably only going to render probably maybe 15% of the actual active internet. Because everything's used. It doesn't support HTML5, so it's going to write off pretty much half of what's out there right now. So, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Plus, it still works pretty okay.
So, AquaWeb SP, a fast solution for browsing the modern web on Mac OS 10.4 and 10.5.
Interesting. I'll have to give that a try because I do have the a few PowerPC Macs set up. So
consider this one being tested today.
Yeah, I'm gonna test that after the show tonight too. I'm gonna download that and.
I noticed Scarlet Swordfish mentioned the good old set date control panel, which of course you need on any of those because the old Macs have the ability to actually store a 4-digit year, but the interface only allows you to type 2 digits. So when you type in 2020, or you just type in 20, it thinks you're typing in 1920. So it's the set date control panel enables you to put in the date with 4 digits, and so you can set the correct date on your vintage Mac.
It's interesting because on some Macs, if you set it to 2019 at 11:59 p.m., it will actually go over to 2020. But,
yes.
A lot of them will not, and I have to follow up with Scarlet Swordfish here because there is a trick to getting it to work in System 6, and I was banging my head against the wall trying to get it to work. There's a very odd way to get it to work that it's not really clear. There's no real documentation with it, and I emailed the developer and figured it out, and so I'll have to share that.
I didn't have any issue with it working on System 6 at all. I'm going to go out and say it.
Yeah, no. So you just put it in the system folder?
Yeah, in the control panels. Yeah, in the system folder because obviously in System 6 they're not separate. So
and that's where it tricked me up. I'm like, wait a second, I'm not a System 6 expert. How does this happen?
Yeah, so it wasn't until System 7 that they actually decided to create a folder for control panels and a folder for extensions. Prior to that, they'd all just got dumped in there.
Yeah, and then there was you have to go to the general control panel, and then there's a list of them. I'm like, oh, this is where they're all hiding.
Yeah, that's right. But yeah, I didn't really have an issue with the sort of set date within System 6. It seemed to work okay for me. So, good. But of course, we're all talking pre OS 10 here. So
yeah. I mean, I've had it not work on some PowerPC beige systems. It just locks up the machine. So
okay.
But I think if you're running 8.6, you don't have that problem of the date. So, which you should be running if you're running a PowerPC Mac. You got to put 8.6 on me. It's come on.
Come on.
No.
Let's see. Fetch is another good one. FTP utility. Obviously, you're sharing files back and forth to a modern machine, or you're trying to get some files to be shared. I think that's a no-brainer. Either Fetch or another FTP utility, but Fetch is a pretty good one.
Yep, Fetch is my go-to as well. I think. I mean, even on System 6, there's a version of Fetch that works. But, in System 7, I think I use Fetch 3, something like that. And, another essential one for transferring files around.
Yeah.
Mike, your cat is staring at where the couch used to be. It's like, what the hell, man?
What did you do?
That's awesome.
Yeah, he's been a little weird. I mean, weirder than normal.
Yeah. All right. What about any other? Oh, go ahead, Jay.
Can I give a shout out to Graphic Converter?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, you can use it on.
No, sorry, there isn't time.
Your modern Mac as well, but mostly when I take screenshots and stuff on my old OS, and it's one of those picked files, and Mojave doesn't know what the hell to do with it. Graphic Converter on Mojave can also convert it, but it's easier to just do it on the PowerPC. So.
Yep. No, that's an excellent tool to do.
Yep. There is what's that? Oh, Can Opener. Do you remember Can Opener? That's an old one from the old. Mm-hmm. And that one would just open anything. That was and you could look at the source and stuff like that. So Can Opener was a really good utility to have. ResEdit. I'm going very much 68K utilities here. So
bring them on.
Yeah,
that's before my time.
Another good utility for anybody playing around with beige machines is System Picker. If you have multiple system folders on one partition, or multiple system folders, multiple system folders on one SCSI ID, that's gonna save you because that's the issue I was running into on my Quadra of rebooting to different partitions. System Picker works fine. There are different versions for 6 and 7, etc. And another utility, if you're dealing with SCSI disks and everything, a very clever name called Mount Everything, mt.everything. It's for 68K and PowerPC. has its own drivers. It's a little quirky, but if I have a floppy disk that's a rescue disk, it has that and a few other utilities on there, and that's my go-to if I'm trying to mount a disk. Usually 9 times out of 10 that I'll actually do it. So
software just had cooler names back then.
Yeah, they're very clever.
SCSI Probe.
That's I mean, it's not as good as SCSI Probe, but yeah, that's a good one too.
And of course, if you're dealing with sort of pre-System 7, which of course there's only one idiot doing that, but there's a little control panel called Mount Image, and it allows you to mount what are they called? Disk copy version 4.2 disk images. It allows you to mount them on the desktop.
I did not know that existed.
It still works in System 7, but you don't really need it because you can use disk copy. But
I just hate when I double click on an image and it opens disk copy 4 and like that's not what I want.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm sorry to exclude all the beige users over here, but another app that is really awesome is called Silver Keeper. And if you're familiar with Carbon Copy Cloner or Super Duper, this is an app just like that. It's macOS 9 and up, so unfortunately no good for all the beige stuff. But basically it allows you to make a clone of your system or select backups. And in a time where backup solutions were either something like Silver Keeper or something as infuriating as Retrospect, you really want to have Silver Keeper on your system. So.
And yeah, Sean mentioned Toast, another excellent utility.
Oh, hell yeah. Can't forget about Toast.
Heck, I run Toast on my Mac Pro.
Yep.
Yeah, I've still got Toast on here. I mean, I think certainly during a certain era, Toast would have been on just about every computer out there, because there was nothing built in early on. There was nothing built into the Mac OS for burning CDs. They added something a little bit later on. It was pretty lacking.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, Toast was everywhere.
Well, plus you can use it to mount CDs as well.
That's right. And create disk images.
Mount images. Yeah, a CD image. So because, for instance, when I play Civ 2, I have to mount that CD image in order to play it because it won't play like all the little cut scenes and everything unless I mount the CD.
Yeah, I have to do the same thing when I load up Age of Empires and Doom 3 and all that stuff.
There is a smaller utility. Obviously, Toast is superior to doing a lot more things, but there is a small little utility called Virtual CD DVD ROM utility, and it's on Macintosh Garden. Just search for Virtual CD DVD ROM utility, and it does just that. It mounts a disk image. It'll mount Toast images as well. Sometimes, depending on how much memory you have, the system is not the utility is not as happy to do what you want it to do. But it's one to give a try necessarily if you have an older system. Maybe it doesn't support Toast or whatnot.
Well, Retro Techie actually said Disk Warrior is a godsend on older Macs.
And used to be on newer Macs.
Oh yeah,
shrink wrap.
If they don't update it for APFS this year, I might incite some violence.
I mean,
it's time, man.
I mean, if no other competitor has also done it, then there must be some monumental problem, I guess, that's stopping these developers.
They can let us know.
Well, maybe that's against their software license agreement with Apple or some shit.
Yes.
The guess.
Steve, since you're already talking, can you tell me if there's a good utility out there for beige computers that lets me create a RAM disk?
Yeah, the memory control panel.
And does it work very well?
I've never had a problem with it.
Really?
You set your RAM disk, you turn it on, you select the size, and that's about it.
But how much RAM do you need?
I mean, you could suffer in silence if you want to have 6 megs in your system and you want 4 megs of it to be a RAM disk. I think you could actually do that. I wouldn't recommend it. But
now, obviously, I've no experience with anything beige, but I know that when I create a RAM disk on my Mac Pro, the speed is incredible. How does it work on a beige Mac?
I
compared
tried
to a regular SCSI drive or something.
So when I was first off, the first test I did with this was on a Macintosh SE, or no, I'm sorry, it was a Macintosh Plus, and I was running System 6, and I put in the RAM disk, and you would never have guessed you were running off a hard disk. It was super fast. I tried to use it for data storage on my Quadro when I was doing video capture. I was getting some dropped frames with the SCSI2 SD adapter. I said, let me just make a RAM disk. I have 139 megs of RAM. Let me make a RAM disk. And System 7 froze up when I told it I wanted a 70 megabyte RAM disk, and I rebooted. So I don't know about that.
All right.
All right. Any other software we could think of?
Yes.
Go for
as
it.
much as it might not be that useful anymore compared to modern standards, I have a special place for AppleWorks.
Oh yeah.
I need
Nothing wrong with
AppleWorks.
AppleWorks.
Even if I don't really use it, I need
Good old
AppleWorks. on my system.
ClarisWorks.
AppleWorks was always pretty awesome. I mean, some of us have been using AppleWorks since the Apple II days. That's a very awesome piece of software back in the day. And
Absolutely.
I have to admit, I never really used a lot of the Mac versions, but I'm sure they're quite capable.
Yeah. I mean, I actually remember accidentally buying a PC version of AppleWorks 6 because I still have the box and everything.
They made a PC version?
Yes, they did.
Oh,
And
wow,
it was
I didn't know that.
I didn't either. And I got home and put the disc in the computer. I'm like, how about that? I think it's actually a hybrid, but it has like the full Windows version of ClarisWorks. It was rebranded AppleWorks at that time. But I always remember using ClarisWorks for the first time and like, oh, this is awesome. And then when I got to school and everything is Microsoft Office, and I'm like, what is this? Where's my drawing application?
This is garbage. And of course, we can't move on without mentioning Unreal Tournament.
Oh,
Must-have software.
Staple.
must. That is definitely.
Yeah, especially if
Oh,
you're Jack.
should we also mention Minecraft because of Sean?
Yeah, games, Minecraft. Oh gosh, if we talk games, that's another hour. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
There's something I'd just like to mention really quickly, and that is that because when we're talking about these older computers and we're talking about older software that's not necessarily supported by the company that makes it and is available on, whether it be legally or not, is available on Macintosh Garden, you can actually get hold of some incredibly powerful software for free. When I think of professional applications that we used to spend thousands of dollars for a license for back in the olden days, and you can just jump onto Macintosh Garden and download them. Now, sure, these are old versions of software. They may not necessarily be as good as some of the versions that are available today, but most of them have a lot of that core functionality, and you can find some really, really top quality software that you can get for nothing. That's sort of aim high. Sort of go and look for 3D applications or publishing applications or drawing or illustrating or something like that. There's lots of fantastic stuff out there for old Macs.
Yeah, a lot of the stuff you maybe just didn't know about back in the day, you're going to have access to.
I mean, I would much rather use Quark Express version 3 than Microsoft Word 365.
Yes.
Yeah, there's some classic versions of applications that just they get so much right, and then there's always that version that just destroys the application, and you wish you never upgraded.
So Pterodyne was asking, Unreal's a pretty great multiplayer on top of single player mode, and I was typing to him just now. I said, so we do play UTO4, and we probably need to try to get a game going tomorrow night, guys. I think we're way overdue. But we're way overdue. We need to like sit down and say, okay, yeah, we're going to do it. I'm thinking Saturday
Last time
night.
we did, nobody showed up.
I think, well, Jay and I were there, and I think Steve was there, and I think Dana showed up.
Nobody
too.
but us.
Yeah.
It's 4 of us.
So
I'd show up if somebody would tell me about it.
I told you about it because you had that excuse last time.
But anyways, Jay runs the server there, and so we can set it up to anything we want to do. Jay's favorite one is training day, of course, but
Oh yeah.
With the nuclear bombs turned on, yeah.
with the Redeemers.
That was
Well,
hilarious.
if you make sure you're on Discord, I think GT is working on trying to get streaming bot fixed, and maybe we can find something else that I don't know if such a thing exists for Discord. You can sign up to get notifications about a certain word or topic or something, so when we have a game, people get notified. But
well,
keep
when
an
we
eye on
type
Discord,
in
I'd say.
when we type that at everyone, if that usually does a notification.
Right, but that also bugs people that don't want nothing to do with UT.
Yeah, exactly.
It's hard
They
to
don't
believe.
Yeah, that's very hard to believe. If you're on our Mac Yak server, man, you're not a UT person. But anyways, just to refresh everybody, in fact, because Pterodine might not know this, but that's how we actually started the show, was UT04, kind of with where we all met and started this. So
Almost all.
well, except for the original, the OG gang, which right now it's only 3 of us in this show tonight left: me, Mike, and Jay.
Yeah, Bruce never really got on board with UT.
What?
It's a shame.
It's because he got killed a
Singling
lot.
me out for.
Huh?
Well, Steve was in UT also, but he didn't start. You didn't start for until episode 7, really. So.
Yeah, but I was playing you guys in UT before I.
Oh
the
yes,
show.
yes, you were.
I joined just for the. I bought a G5 just to join the Power PC Gaming Challenge. That's dedication. Come on.
Yeah.
I'm still kicking that stupid thing.
I basically just say that for me it's not as enjoyable experience because of the latency of the distance.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Because he gets killed a lot too. That's
Bruce
why.
is setting up his own server, and
We're all gonna have to go over there.
Actually, that'd be an interesting one.
It's Minecraft.
Actually, it still wouldn't work.
Yeah, it would. It'd be on your favor because then we would all lag to you. You'd be like, boom, yeah, boom.
Yeah, then he's gonna blame Wi-Fi. Yeah, it's just still such a lag. Well,
Except that I don't use Wi-Fi.
there's a lot of software that I can mention.
It would take us hours.
If
to
you go to mac-yak.com, go to the latest post, which is about the PowerPC Challenge, and at the bottom of it there are links to previous challenge pages where some software is listed and tips, tricks, and all that good stuff.
Yep.
Oh.
So
Someone
Sean's
in
suggesting
Hawaii.
that we set up a server maybe halfway between us geographically speaking.
That's what Sean said. Have someone in Hawaii host a server.
Yeah.
got some Godzilla-related turbulence here. We're gonna have to shut down the server for a while.
Well, Bruce, if it makes you feel any better, next time we do it, I'll join you, and then we can both die together because I suck.
Yeah, I'm shocked.
I can't seem to live for more than 5 or 6 seconds each time.
I think this last
Jay's
year.
just too fast.
This last year, I barely played any UT. I think that's the most I've gone without UT since 1999, 2020.
Slacking.
So,
Yeah,
as you heard it,
change
guys,
that.
if you want to join us, join our Discord. Get on there. We'll hook up a game. We'll try to get one going Saturday night. I'm going to try to.
I mean, I think one of the problems is, of course, that we are all so busy these days in terms of, creating content and live streaming and all that sort of stuff. So we're probably, the time that we would have once spent playing sort of UT, we're now all doing...
We're sacrificing
different
our lives for your entertainment is what we're
Yeah. Well, we are
not
doing a lot
busy
more now
playing
than we were 2 years ago.
Yes.
Sure.
Yes.
We
Somebody wants
played,
a Quake 3 tournament.
I would say we played Quake 3. We just, I don't know, we just prefer... Well, I should
UT.
say Jay prefers UT.
You
I mean,
are
Quake
welcome to
3
set up
Arena
any
is
server.
fun, but it's just not UT, you know? We all have our favorites.
Yeah. In fact, Quake 3 is hosted by, who's the guy that hosts that?
Isn't it Blake?
Blake, yeah.
Blake Haynes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know
does?
if his server's still up or not.
Well, if not, I'll boot up a server.
I'm going to say I could probably serve it here off of something.
All right, guys. So I think we can move on to our next sort of topic, and this is something that's actually been taking up three of the members here a lot of our time lately. Is 3D printing. Jay was the first one to buy a brand new 3D printer, and I think he got the bug about a year ago from Bruce, who did not have a 3D printer.
No.
How much was this?
Well,
printer?
we had our eyes, or Bruce had his eyes set on a Kickstarter project of a printer that can do CNC, laser engraving, and 3D printing. It's an awesome machine. It looks phenomenal. It works even better. It even smells good, people say. But it's all in all $2,000. So that was not going to happen. So then I got on Discord and started asking people like, hey, what do you recommend? What's the good stuff? And a few people said the printer I got now was a good choice. This is the Ender 3. So I got it. And then as soon as I started printing, GT got the bug, and he ran to the nearest Micro Center and got one. And then Bruce was like, I cannot be the last one to get a printer. So he went and got one.
The only difference in my printer is I don't have the V2. I bought the regular
Yeah, but you can make
Pro.
your own V2.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, the only difference is the power supply is sitting on the side. I'm not going to put it under the bottom like the other one. But pretty much all the modifications I've made so far have kind of made it to a V2, except I don't have the touch screen either. It still has the little button knob. I'd have to buy the new control panel in order to.
There's no touchscreen.
Oh,
yeah.
well,
I think the main difference is
yours is a color screen, right?
Is color, yeah. That's right.
Yeah,
yours is
mine's
black and white.
yep.
Yeah.
Which,
but the thing that really got me was once sort of Jay had bought his, and he sent me a link for the printer and the price and everything like that. And obviously, in Australia, it's going to cost more. It was within the realms of possibility. The printer I was looking at before, which was basically this thing called a Snapmaker V2 or something like that.
That thing is awesome.
Yeah, it's an absolutely fantastic thing. But the it's one of those things like one day I'll have the money for it. One day. Still. But with this one, it was like, what? This is. I'm not going to have to save for months for this one. I can just wait until the next time a client pays me, and then I can just nip out and grab it, and that's exactly what I did. So.
Well, that's the beauty of this one. It's one of those printers that is very, very good for its price class.
Well, it's a good entry level printer.
Yeah. And it's all community and open source, and there's mods and support everywhere you look for it.
Oh yeah.
And you can buy this printer and remain married. That's also a big benefit.
So here's a question: how does this 3D printing hobby relate to the Mac Yak world?
Because you're using Macs to run it?
No, because of what you can print on it.
Yeah.
This right here is just an example. This is a sled, a hard drive sled for a Mac Pro that I printed on it, and it works awesome. I don't have it in there because I have all metal ones still, but I printed one just to see how sturdy it was. I mean, this thing is really sturdy. It's light. It's very light. But it fits it just fine, and it works just fine. And this is printed on the Ender 3 Pro, Ender 3 Pro. So it's really good quality for the amount of money that you pay for it.
And then you can take it a step further, and you can have a sled like this, which is designed to mount a 2.5-inch drive into that 3.5-inch hole.
Yep.
And so, obviously you can buy an adapter, but this way you can actually just print a sled specifically designed for that, for the 2.5-inch drive.
Or instead of buying an adapter, you can actually print an adapter.
Yes. Yeah. Right.
Now let me ask a question, Bruce. How long did it take you to print that? That's not very big, so.
This one here did actually use quite a bit. This one I think was about 3 hours print time.
Oh, that's not
so
bad.
that one's one I left overnight, so I don't know exactly how long it took, but it estimated.
Well, actually, it should tell you in Cura how long it's going to take.
But I cannot remember what it said. It was, I think,
whatever Cura tells you, and for
it's
people
pretty
not
accurate.
familiar,
it's pretty accurate.
The slicer software that takes the 3D model and prepares it for 3D printing, it's called Cura. That's one of the options. It always tells me roughly 2 hours more than I'm actually going to spend printing it. So,
oh, really? I haven't found. I found Cura to be pretty accurate.
Yeah, it's pretty accurate for me too. This took me about 5 hours to print. Well, that's because I printed 100% infill. Because I wanted the rigid, I want it to be very, very sturdy. I didn't want it to have, a lot of flex in it.
Greg, if you want, you can send that to Pennsylvania. I can test it for you.
I tested it already.
So we got some questions. GT, did you create that file?
No, I did not create that file, actually. Files for this, in fact, you can create your own files. There is software out there to do that, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But if you don't have the capability to make your own stuff, there are thousands upon thousands of things out there on a place called Thingiverse. It's a website dedicated to 3D printing. What is it? Thingiverse.com. If you want to put the link in there.
And that's one of several.
Yeah.
There are other websites like it, but Thingiverse, pretty awesome.
Yes. You could type a search in there and it'll come up with hundreds of things for that one particular search.
And it is worth mentioning that when you do get hold of a 3D model of something, and sort of Jay mentioned this Cura software, when you have, say, for example, I'm looking at here a
cat's butt.
A cat's butt and a cube by cat, and this here was basically a solid 3D model. Now, of course, when I say solid, it's not really solid. It's computer empty space. But anyhow, it's a solid cube. When you get a model like this and you put it into Cura, what it does is it analyzes it and it says, what, this doesn't need to be full solid of the filament stuff of plastic. I can actually go in and fill this with like a hexagon type shape, so still get quite a lot of strength out of it. And I mean, I could stand on this thing without using huge amounts of filament. So the software itself does that for you. So it's not like you need to be, working out, how the model should be filled. If you're, printing something solid, it'll do that for you. So it's actually incredibly clever stuff. You can virtually just come up with a design, put it in this software, press a button, and it works out the best way to print it.
Yeah, and I tell you what, the last couple of weeks that I've had my printer, I've pretty much nonstop. I've printed stuff. Everybody knows I do sim racing. I've actually put mods on all my steering wheel, my shifter, my pedals. I've done mods already that I've printed stuff out that's actually on Thingiverse. I found it on Thingiverse and printed this stuff out. So.
Now, when it comes
here's
to
an example. Yeah. This is something that was off Thingiverse, and this is a interrupt switch off an SE or an SE30, and it's the model is there. It's incredibly close to the original. I've just printed this out in a white, but
really cool.
And it's it's fully sort of fully functional, and of course these things go missing and they get damaged as well. A lot of the time, people don't realize you need to take these off before you pull the back off. So I've had situations where I've got hold of these and they've been severed across. These top bits have been snapped because they were left in when they took the back of the computer off.
Yeah. Now, another thing, and this is something I printed just recently, is basically it's just a hard drive holder. You could put it prints out and you could store extra hard drives, vertically like this. But I also have, and Jay printed out a bunch of them. If you look on Discord, RAM holders, like desktop RAM and laptop RAM. I've got some.
How many did you print?
Oh, a bunch. Well, Jay printed out way more. Yeah, Jay printed out way more than I did.
I didn't count, but we're talking easily 3 by 3 feet of desk space full of them.
Yeah,
I know.
And then
I needed it. Don't look at me like I'm crazy. I needed it.
But I also have one of these, and it's back behind me. I have one of these that's scaled down for the 2.5-inch hard drives because I have a whole bunch of laptop drives that I store in there too. So it's a pretty nice little printer for what it does.
It's hard to break away from once you get a printer. At least for me, once you get a printer, you already have 55 different bookmarks for stuff on Thingiverse that you want to print.
Yeah.
But you get the printer because you have something or multiple specific things in mind. Like, ooh, I really
Need
this
that.
completely justifies me blowing $500 when it's all said and done on a printer, and all you end up creating is, toys for your kid, hard drive holders, and mods for your printer, and all that stuff. But the only idea I had for creating something myself was these little Mac Pro CPU spacers that always get lost or you can't find anywhere.
You actually gave that idea to Kate. You were asking her about that. I remember that.
Yeah. So I got those designed, and now currently I'm working on. I'm still prototyping, but here you got a foot of a G4, and I don't have a single G4 that still has the rubber feet underneath these handles. So I'm working on creating those right now so I can print them in a silicone material and put all the feet back under my G4. But between doing the stuff that I actually got this printer for, between projects, I'm printing up everything I can find on Thingiverse that has nothing to do with Mac or, this thing is running 24/7.
Veldetta, I think that's how you pronounce it. Veleda says, wait, those are supposed to be rubber feet on those. Well, that's what Jay just said. There is certain materials that you can actually use
flexible.
Flexible. Yep. There's flexible stuff. There's very rigid stuff. There's see-through. There's actually see-through stuff or translucent stuff. Bruce has that one he made was translucent. You also have glow-in-the-dark filament. I mean, they have all kinds of different.
They have wood finish. They have gold, silver, copper. There's some.
I mean, I am limited in the materials I can print because I would have to do some upgrades to print that. But I do all the prototyping in regular PLA hard plastic. I mean, depending on how thin you print it, but this is going to scratch up your desk just as much as the foot itself. So it would be impractical. But this is just for testing. Once I have a model that's complete and it fits, then I get some of that silicone-like material and print it in that and put it up on Thingiverse and, enjoy, have fun.
Yep.
And then I move on to the next project. But the in-between projects, it's a free-for-all.
Yeah,
well, this is the SCSI 2SD, which, of course, I've mentioned before that I've been making here. Video coming out soon, guys. And I made a little mounting bracket for it that goes on this way, which allows this to then be mounted in a like a Macintosh SE or an SE30 or a Mac 2 or 2X, any that have the mounting bracket that attaches via the side rather than underneath. Because these conveniently have mounting holes on for the underneath, but they don't have mounting holes for the side. So this a little mounting bracket that will allow you to mount that on there. And again, this is just something that I sort of just took a few measurements, knocked it up in some 3D software, and printed it out. So too easy.
That's neat. That's a practical use for it.
Well, and we were talking about this before the show too. Is that the cool thing about that is a lot of this stuff that we're printing is stuff you can't get parts for anymore.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. For instance, the retro Mac stuff, like that little button that the interrupt button. You cannot get those anymore. Bezels, exactly.
Yeah. The idea, like if you've got an old Mac and either the bezel is broken because of the brittle plastics, or if you want to install a zip drive into the thing and you don't have the right bezel for that particular thing, and chances are someone has already gone in and made it. You just need to download it and print it.
Yep.
Well, for you beige users, I see a lot more potential for bezels and parts, and especially the brittle plastics that you guys run into all the time. For me, it's going to be mostly service parts, like the little brackets that you use to keep in a hard drive in a MacBook Pro. Those brackets are often gone when you buy them used. I could just print my own. CPU spacers, I could just print my own. Hard drive sleds, I could print my own. Whatever I run into, And I gotta admit, I've been doing this for 2 weeks now, 3 weeks, give or take, and my brain is still not fully, it's not an option that if I need something that I automatically think, oh, I can print this myself. I'm not there yet. My brain doesn't work that way, but it'll happen. So I see it having a lot of potential in the future. Right now, it's mostly just for fun, but the potential is endless.
Actually, talking about fun, what did you print for your son just recently that he just loves?
Oh, I forgot the name.
Spirograph?
Spirograph, yeah.
I don't know if anybody remembers those. I mean, me as a kid, I remember those.
You can still buy them.
Yeah. But why buy them now? Or you can print your own, yeah.
Absolutely.
I am very curious on the cost ratio to the startup of buying the printer, getting the filament, and printing the pieces.
It's a pretty expensive spirograph.
Yeah. It's worth mentioning that the filament itself is actually quite cheap. Now, yes, you're going to go through a lot of it at the beginning because you're testing things out and you're calibrating and you're making mistakes. And if you're prototyping something, there's no way it's going to come out right the first time. You're going to print something, you're going to put it in place and find that there's something that's rubbing up against something, or there's a hole slightly misplaced or something like that. So you're going to be doing a version 2 or even a version 3 of prototyping stuff. So
this is how many attempts it took to get the CPU spacer right.
And so that's something you have to expect. Probably the main thing with these is they do use a decent amount of electricity when they're running, because they have to generate all that heat, because the bed needs to be heated and the sort of the nozzle needs to be heated. So there's definitely some decent electricity consumption. But when it comes to the cost in the materials, I mean, it's a few cents, do.
For me to buy a spool at Micro Center of the inland stuff, which is stuff I've been using, it's $16 for a spool, roughly between $16 and $20 roughly is what it costs for a 1 kilogram spool of filament.
What's a kilogram, G2?
I have no idea in pounds, but it's 1,000 grams. I know that.
I've been buying a kilogram cost me about 40 Australian dollars, and that's buying a brand name one. That's like not a no name one, but it's costing me about 40 for 1 kilogram spool.
Yeah, it's I've been buying the cheap stuff, $16, $17 for a local brand, or not a local brand, a name brand. No, not a name brand. What's the word I'm looking for?
Generic.
A house brand, like Micro Center has their own inland brand.
Well, that's the one I was talking about. Yeah,
it's not great. There are definitely better filaments out there that just adhere better and perform better overall. But I'm still getting started with all this stuff, so I don't care if it doesn't look phenomenal just yet. Just having fun.
Oh, same here. I mean, everything I've printed so far, I've been really pleased with the quality, even with this inland filament. I have not had a problem with it. Now, as far as new people getting into it, and I was asking a whole lot of questions of Jay, and Jay was asking a whole lot of questions of other people before that, or doing a lot of research before he got his printer. But I'm going to tell you something.
Do the research.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you something. It's a lot of startup, because when you get the printer, not only do you have to put it together, okay, but there's a lot of calibration to be done. It took me forever to get my damn computer to connect to it. Once I got that frustration done, it was actually pretty easy after that. But
And before I forget, I know a few of the guys are here and gals, because Kate has a printer as well. Greg Coons at RetroTech, they've been super helpful on Discord, answering questions and stuff.
Yeah.
It's really awesome community.
And I mean, I should also mention that when obviously, because I got my printer after Jay got his, and he'd done all this research, and he sent me some links to some videos which were absolutely fantastic. I mean, in particular, there was one video about assembling this unit, and he had all these little tips for when you're building it, making sure you get it right the first go. And that, I felt like that put me in extremely good stead. The very first print I did on this thing looked spectacular. okay, yes, it needed a couple little refinements, but I was expecting something to come out looking terrible. But it
something
really
like mine
looked
did
good.
the first time.
Yeah,
I don't have it. I don't have
It
it. I don't have it here with me. I think it was so flimsy that I was able to crush it with my fingers. You know, it was
incredible. So for people listening or watching later, your printer usually comes with an SD card with a test file on it. In the case of the Ender, it's a cat or a dog.
Well, there's also a couple other ones, but you know.
Yeah, but we don't care about those.
Yeah.
So GT, he's a dog person, so he printed the dog, and it came out looking like a gremlin. It nothing like a dog.
A scary dog.
Yeah,
Then
it
he
was
had to
very
do some
scary.
calibrations. Did you reprint it? You did.
Yes,
right?
I did reprint it, and it
And it
came
looked
out
like a dog.
perfect. It came out perfect. Yeah.
The first time I did, because I wasted a week of my life following all the wrong advice and trying to figure half of this stuff out on my own. I already had some help on Discord, but mostly on forums, blogs, and Facebook groups, I was sent in the wrong direction. So I wasted a week of my life trying to get this thing up and running. But finally, I printed a cat that looked like a cat, and been happy ever since. But that first week, I was like, no, I'm sending this piece of crap back. I hate it. I don't want to do this.
And as usual, you have to be really careful with the forums and that there are a lot of good people out there providing useful information, and there are a lot of people out there that will completely and totally send you down the wrong path.
Yeah.
And I was looking at one where someone was doing because one of the most important things with the 3D printing is making sure the bed is level. So what you're printing on is as flat as possible. We won't go into that too much, but I remember someone posting an image of the little test print, the leveling test print, and you could clearly see that it was too far away. The way it was printing, the bed was too far away from the nozzle, and he needed to get it closer. And the first comment that comes up says, "Your nozzle is too close."
What?
So the very first bit of information that came up was the exact opposite of the problem.
Yeah.
And that's where you have to be careful with some of these forums.
Well, one of the videos I watched, one of the ones that Jay recommended was for bed leveling, was using a piece of paper to level. And I've actually done that, and it worked out perfect for me. I mean, it takes about 5 minutes for you to get it leveled properly, because not only do you have to get each corner done, but then you have to go back again, because as you
takes
move,
a minute.
As you do one, you affect the one on the opposite side.
Exactly.
And so you have to just keep going around, getting smaller and smaller adjustments as you go around. But it is worth it, because once you get that bed perfectly level, it makes the world of difference to the quality of your prints.
Yes.
And I do want to touch on that community aspect. I know Steve is bored out of his mind. Mike probably fell asleep, so
I'm just replacing the word printing with pants in my head, so it's just really funny. We're all talking about 3D making your own pants.
But for anyone thinking of getting a 3D printer down the road, hit up Mac Yak Discord. I mean, there are Facebook groups that'll help you, and both have very knowledgeable people there. But there's also a lot of misinformation out there. For example, leveling the print bed is the number one issue. Like Bruce said, everybody runs into it sooner or later. Out of the box, you have to level it. Every X amount of prints, you have to level it. The problem is when you buy a cheap printer, and compared to the markets, the Ender series is a cheap printer. It's good for the price, but it's cheap. There is no way in hell that it will ship with a glass plate that is level. It is always, no exception, it's always warped. You cannot level a glass plate that is warped. It's just simply freaking impossible. And everybody on Facebook will say, no, you got to level your bed. And I'm ready to pimp slap him, but I don't know what to do.
Well, here's the problem,
clearly,
though.
when you have all four sides level and the middle is further away, that can't be out of level. You know, if all four sides are right, you know that the middle is dipping down. But once again, there are tricks. I've got a couple of layers of aluminium foil. Do you like when I say that? Aluminium foil underneath, in the middle of the glass bed, and it's just enough to raise the middle of that glass up to get the bed nice.
Here's the thing on mine, though. Since I bought the non V2, it does not have a glass bed. Okay. I actually had the magnet one on there, but the magnet one was a piece of crap, so I took the magnet off and I got stickers. I've got the regular stickers I put on there, and that works much better because
I think they call that PEI. I don't know what it stands for, but I've seen it come up.
But I love the stickers on it because it's much better. It's thinner, so the heat coming from the plate is much more accurate. Because before it had to go not only through the the sticker magnet they had on the plate, but also the magnet that you put on top of it. So it was two pieces that it had to go through.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I kind of like it. I bought like 3 or 4 of them because if one gets damaged or whatever, I just peel it off and put another one on. You know.
Yeah, I should mention that if you're watching this now, later, or listening to it, whatever. And you're like, oh, yeah, I want to get a 3D printer to print all my own parts and all that. It's a really fun hobby. Don't expect to make money off it. You might be able to sell some designs or whatever if you do jewelry or whatever. You might break even. But once you're done, you spend money on the printer, you spend money on the filament. That thing blows easily 250 watts of power when in operation. You're not gonna make any money off it. So go in it with the right mindset. This is for fun. This is for tinkering, experimenting, prototyping, whatever. Puzzles for your kids, whatever. Just go into it with the right mindset, kind of like Steve has right now. And, it's going to be fun. And the community, I can only speak for the one on the Mac Yak Discord, is awesome. I saved probably two more weeks of time messing around because of Ed. He's in the chat, Ed Retrotech. He helped me out with some settings. He sent me a printer profile. I've been printing perfect ever since. I was able to save GT and Bruce probably a week of time by passing everything I learned from Ed and other sources on to them, and they can, well, not Bruce because he's never on Discord anymore, but GT can help you save even more time, so if we all keep helping each other like that, it's going to be awesome.
Yes. So. Jay helped me a whole lot. I'm going to tell you what, Jay, and I'm still watching those videos on learning how to actually do the 3D
How many have you watched?
Software? 3 so far, so I haven't gotten far.
Okay, I am a good student. I have watched all of them, okay? As monotonal as that voice was, I have watched every single one of them.
What, the designer
I think
one?
he's talking about the tutorial videos.
I'm talking about the tutorial for the what's that software called?
Fusion 360.
Yeah, Fusion 360.
Okay. No, I was talking about the calibration of the
No.
Yeah, his voice, it's kind of like my videos. I mean, I don't blame anyone for not watching my YouTube videos because my voice is monotone as hell. Yeah. But yeah, it's hard to cut through. But
I mean, like Jay said, the printers we got is basically a hobby printer because we're not getting the detailed prints out of it. You're going to still see layers, okay, in just about everything. No matter if you get up close, you're going to see the layers. All right, it's not going to be very detailed because you're looking at 0.2 millimeters is what we're printing at. Okay.
Well, to be fair, we can put different nozzles and all that stuff on our printer, but this is you're not paying what? How much did we pay? $250?
About $200. I paid $200 for mine.
Yeah, so you're not saving that much money and expecting the same quality and plug and play as a $2,000 printer.
Yeah, there
is some tinkering involved, and that's for me. That's part of the fun. And
exactly.
Saving a crap load of money is part of the fun too. But with the help of the community, it's pretty sweet.
Now, in the interest of fairness, Steve, would you like to talk about dot matrix printers for a bit?
Yes. Okay. So my favorite dot matrix printer is the Image Writer LQ because it's freaking ginormous, and I love that you could feed the paper in 5 different ways. I could go on for an hour, Bruce. Don't tempt me.
So yes, retro about as dry as listening to you guys talk about. Listen to you guys talk about 3D printers. Then I got to listen to Steve talk about freaking image writers for 3 hours. It's bad enough I have to hear this crap whenever he buys one, which is at least once a week.
No, well, I've refrained.
Well, we got Retrotech.
Although I have to admit that Image Writer LQ that he got is pretty freaking awesome.
All right. Well, we got Retrotech in there asking what happened to the Max. Is this printer yak? LOL. It's like. You got to remember,
we can add another hour of printer yak.
We talk about a lot of other things that are related to Macs that can be used with Macs. In fact, the software we're using, we use our Macs to actually design all this stuff and to put it onto the printer.
I'm going to say, in fairness, I mean, it is related because you are using your Macs to print these parts, and you are printing parts for Macs, especially Bruce with his interrupt and reset button switch for the classic.
This is a Mac part.
Plus holder and the hard drive tray. I mean, the applications for this technology is endless, really.
And that's why we wanted to bring it up, because it's not just, oh, look at me, I got a 3D printer.
I have got so many Macs with no power switch. I really need to go and print a bunch of power switches.
You need those?
Drive bezels.
But I tell you what, on the other hand, it's like we got to get the message out to everybody in the community that, we need these parts off of these computers,
so we can model them.
Thank you. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
We need these parts modeled from these older machines that so we can 3D print these pure unobtainium items.
Well, I think between Bruce and me, I think we have the majority of systems covered. We can measure.
Well, the problem is Bruce is already saying that he doesn't have any power switches, so
Well, I've got them in pieces.
Well, Bruce has an advantage over all of us here. He can dream CAD software. So,
yeah.
And by the way, Greg brings up Greg in the chat, not you, Greg. But is there any slicer software for PowerPC? And if that was the case, if that would exist, I would have participated in the challenge.
And that's what I was going to mention. Is that's pretty much the reason why Jay, myself, and Bruce have probably not done much of the challenge, because we've been.
I've been modeling this stuff, so I've been making these prototypes and stuff. I generally what I do is any of the two-dimensional work that I do in Illustrator, and then I bring in that into a 3D software called
Illustrator
Lightwave.
88?
No, but I could. But yeah, I use this product called Lightwave, which I've been using for, a decade or more, because I used to do quite a bit of 3D work when I work with modeling products and stuff like that. And that Lightwave I've got a version here of Lightwave that I can run on a PowerPC, so I really should be doing that.
Ages, Bruce.
Yeah, so I really should start taking it over to the G5 and seeing how I go with prototyping on that.
And just out of curiosity, how slow is that?
It's the slowest part is when you're rendering. So this is the software that I use is actually designed for making 3D in terms of still or movies and that sort of thing. So when it actually comes to the modeling side of things, it's very, very zippy. I mean, that's where your display card comes into action and how many polygons you might be using. But for stuff like this, I mean, it's all just geometric shapes. There's hardly any polygons in this at all. So something like this on an old G5 would be very easy to build.
I would say that probably would be that probably wouldn't even tax the processor on a G5. But I've seen some of the complex prints that people have up on Thingiverse just looking around, and because I was looking around just to see if maybe it might be something I would be interested in. And I mean, it's interesting, but to justify the cost, sort of thing, that's a lot of money I could be spending on old Macs, or even old PCs.
Yeah.
So, and I don't really have room for it either. Plus, my cats would probably want to play with it when it's printing. So,
of course, well, you're making them toys, obviously. So.
But I thought about trying to see about going to halves with Steve to see if he would be interested in getting one.
We'll be working on you guys over the coming weeks. I'm putting down that you'll have one within a month.
Well, I have two very close family members that have two different types of 3D printers. So my idea is to give them two projects and see which one prints which one. Have them both print the same thing and see how they look. So. I have to get around to that, but let's see.
Knowing my luck, I'd probably end up printing cat toys.
Yeah. Instead of spending 99 cents at the store, you're going to spend $300 on a printer and filament.
I don't want to buy this little ringy ball thing that Lucy likes. I said, I'm just going to print one out for her. Because every time
But then
Every
you
time
have
she
to.
20 hours.
uses one of her little balls. I found like 15 of them under the sofa. You know, I go out and buy her more of these little balls with the bells in them. She loves it.
Now,
Say,
I
yeah,
should.
screw it, I'll just print them.
I really should add that if you ever needed a reason to get a 3D printer, anyone, and this goes to anyone out there, and that is so that you can get yourself a Brancus phone case. Okay? So I can think of no better reason than, for a 3D printer than making yourself a Brancus phone case.
Does that come in iPhone 6s Plus size?
Absolutely.
For a small donation of $5.99.
$599 Australian?
Yes.
So we got a question here. What 3D printers are PowerPC Leopard compatible?
I don't know if you could see that very well, but that's a 3D
really.
print of the Mac Yak logo.
I can't.
Yeah, it's hard to
Black
see.
square.
Oh, tilt it so it hits the light.
There you go.
there.
Or at an
better.
angle.
There you go.
There you go.
That's actually kind of cool, Greg.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
neat.
That's I just took a 2D image and put it in the software, and it actually will, but based on the color, will put a depth on it. So, I mean, it's not a perfect what I wanted, but I'm going to do some more work on the color and print some of these off. But I thought it was pretty cool.
Would these printers run off? Somebody's asking if they will run on a PowerPC running Leopard.
They'll run on anything because they don't actually connect to a computer.
They don't have to.
They don't have
Ultimately, these ones are a self-contained unit, i.e. you get a file that's ready to print, you copy it onto an SD card, you plug it in. Now, of course, there are upgrades you can do to these where you can actually connect up controllers to them, where you then can connect them to a computer, or you can even connect them via Wi-Fi, and you can have remote monitoring of where they're up to and all that sort of stuff. So, but yeah, these ones that we're talking about, these entry-level ones, they're ultimately a self-contained unit with their own little screen and everything like that, and you have the file you want to print on the card, you put it in and you select it and you press print. So.
Yep, that's pretty much how I've been doing it. I do the software on the computer and put it over into the printer. The printer's self-contained, and
Hey, Greg, an idea for your Mac Yak thing? Since you printed that in black, get some white and print the reverse of it, and then put them together.
Like a sandwich.
Yeah.
Filament
Then
sandwich.
you could have like a coaster, or like a little sign or something you could put
or I could do this is
or
just
some
print,
other contrasting color.
Yeah, print the black background, and then maybe I have blue and white filament too. I mean, I have black, white, and blue filament, but maybe put like everything that's 3D wise, print it separately without the back, and then glue it onto the back. Because that's what a lot of people do. They print off separate things. I mean, there's some printers out there that will do multicolored. They have separate heads. The problem is that my printer only does one color at a time, so I can't do multicolors, unfortunately.
Yeah, same here. Yeah. Just in response to what sort of Greg Coons was saying in the chat there, and talking about obviously some software to generate G-code. G-code is what the printers actually print from. On a PowerPC, I would think it's highly unlikely, only because the kind of emergence of the hobby-style 3D printers it would have come after they did the switch to Intel. So there would only really be PowerPC software for doing that if someone has gone back and made it, and I can't imagine anyone would have. But if anyone does find PowerPC software for generating G-code, it would be good.
Yes.
Yep, and that's what Cura does. Cura is and that's free software, by the way. You can download the files off of Thingiverse or make your own files using Fusion 360, and you can actually create the G code using that. And there's a lot of different settings in Cura too. That I mean, I won't go into a lot of them, but like Bruce was talking about earlier about the infill. You could set how much infill you want. And when I did this one, the actual default is 20% infill, but I went ahead and put 100%. So that's the reason why it took longer to print this.
You're filling up your pants.
But, okay, Mike, or Steve, you're on.
No, that's what I'm saying. I keep jokingly saying that whenever you say printing, I'm thinking pants. So I'm saying you're filling your pants. See,
we better move on. For the sake of everyone else's sanity, I'm looking at Dana's kind of like singing out this.
Mike's torturing his cats,
Dana's going to get a 3D printer. Watch.
Well, we can. I would like to first say that
not anytime soon.
Yeah, no. I mean, I will be interested once the bug bites me. I'm sure it's all interesting stuff, but especially the member who is currently indisposed right now, and someone who is not with us this episode, have been teasing me relentlessly of when I was going to release my Macintosh clone video, and it is out. So yay.
Hell has frozen over,
and he has one flub, and they mentioned that right away, and he says 6,800 instead of 68K.
And I will let you know in the take I did, the complete 1 hour take I did with all the edits not taking into account and all that crap. The take that I did where the microphone audio was completely messed up, I said it right in that one. Of course, the one that I selected didn't, but
if you think the 6800's bad, he said Mac Portable had a 68030 in it. Luckily I caught that one before he made that public, because he probably would have caught the wrath of the gods.
Oh yeah, I was sorry.
But
it would have been a good Mac if it did.
Yeah,
it would have.
Awesome machine if it had an 030 in it.
Because I made a little chart, and I was comparing the specs of the clones and stuff like that. Because you read so many anecdotes of like, oh, this was faster than this was faster than that, this had more memory, this did that, this did that. And I sort of had to put them all together because I'm like, wait, no, I need to actually do some research here. I'm not going to take someone else's, opinion and say, oh, this is this, as if it's verbatim. But yeah, that's where I got screwed up. I must have had the wrong thing in there. But that's why I share them on Patreon and I share them to you guys, because I am, especially a video that long. I mean, gosh, was that 32 minutes? It is like one of those things where you get so lost in the details sometimes that you're watching the video and you're listening to it, but you may be only listening for, background audio. So I'm scrubbing through the timeline to fix that and all this stuff. So you're not necessarily like listening to the words you're saying. You get into a weird state when you've listened to yourself talk.
Well, Steve, I'm going to tell you something. That's exactly like when I used to write documents as a contractor.
Oh, of course, yep.
When you're the writer of the document, you can edit it 20 bazillion times, and as soon as someone reads it, they're going to be like, oh, I found this. And you're like, I read that 20 times, and I didn't catch that, And it's the same thing.
Very easy to do that.
Yes.
Look, it's worth mentioning, and I've just put a link into the chat there for anyone who hasn't seen. I imagine probably most of the people on Mac Yak have, but it is absolutely a sensational video. And the reason that I like it so much is that the level of research that went into it is just mind-boggling. The level of detail that you go to with all of these different aspects of these early days. I mean, I'm going to keep bugging you for part 2 because I'm so interested in that period where, in particular, where of the time of the power computing and Motorola and all that lot when they were making the clones. That's a period where I'm very interested in because I was I had so many of those computers, but yeah, the amount of research was absolutely fantastic. I mean, This wasn't just sort of, someone working out of his basement that just decided to throw a few words together.
It was, actually.
Definitely on a higher level than most of my videos, I just turn the record on and just wing it.
I want to see part 2 also, because that's where all the photos that I sent him are going to be.
Yes, and see, that's the one thing is I sort of talked about this on Discord, but this video has been in my mind at one point or another since 2017. So I got a UMax clone. That was the first clone I got, I think 2010. I think I picked that up. And so I was curious about them. I don't even know if I knew what a clone was, but the guy sold it to me, I think, for $10. So why not? And I kept doing more research about that. And eventually I thought, oh, you know what? I did a video on my Macintosh 2CX. That's the first video I did on my Mac 84 channel. I'm like, oh, let me do a video about this UMax one. And I started to shoot the footage for that. And I'm like, well, I need to explain what a clone is. I guess people don't know. Okay, let me do research on the history of the clones. And then that led to another thing, and that led to another thing. And what is it? Almost 4 years later, I had, I obviously had some previews on Patreon that anybody who subscribed on there, you've seen some previews there. But this thing just ballooned into a multi-part video like I did not expect, because you start going down one rabbit hole and you're like, oh, well, that company tried to do that. Oh, that tried to do that. And everything is very, there's a lot of documents and websites out there, and you find them they're using the same exact language. And what had happened was I realized I found an article in Macworld or Mac Addict or one of those great magazines, and verbatim people were copying and pasting that one paragraph, and it was all over Wikipedia and the internet and everything. So you have to like really put yourself into a spot where you're like, okay, well, that's somebody's opinion from whenever. I got to go and see where they got their facts from. They're saying it costs this much. Well, how do I know that? And so I just kept going and trying to find as much information as possible. And it took a heck of a long time, but yeah, that I was not going to let myself to become one of the people that I sort of I'm not as entertained by the videos where someone just reads about something and goes and writes something real quick and does a video. I mean, I get why they do that. It's much easier and faster to do that, but that is not the content I
And if they do that, the next thing you know, Steve does a response video.
Yeah. Well, that's if they throw a Mac on the ground. He's like, no!
Yeah, you kick a poor Mac off the table. That's
hey, Steve.
Yes.
As of right now, you have 1,300 views on your Macintosh clone video.
Hey, how about that?
And
I noticed the views were going through the roof.
Yeah,
it was like 700 in the first few hours.
The next closest video after that is the one where you did a quick little thing on your Quadra. That got 1,500 views.
Yeah, this YouTube Studio says I have 1.4, and it's giving me little fireworks because it's doing well. So that's a good thing.
Yeah,
now after
get
that,
the fireworks when it's your best performer.
Your all-in-one G3, which is at almost 5,000.
Oh wow, I didn't know that one.
Yeah, insane. For us, we didn't. Hell, that would be just totally insane for me. I mean, if I get 50 views on a video, I'm doing.
Well, it's very weird how these things sort of spread and get likes and everything. And I have to thank Hot Rod in the channel, because what happened, what sort of kicked me off on the countdown for this clone video was RMC Neil from the RMC YouTube channel. He was doing a video that he teased on Twitter. He got a bunch of PowerPC Mac clones. He got some Star Max models and a weird Pioneer one. And he tagged me in the tweet saying, oh, hey, check this out. And so I just made a response and say, hey, if you want to talk about clones, or if you want to, if you want photos of my clones or whatever, let's talk. And that evolved into me recording a segment for him. And I had the table and the camera and everything set up. And I'm like, well, I might as well start filming mine. And of course, the one of the reasons behind that is when his video goes live, he's telling people to subscribe to and watch my video and all that stuff. So you get that synergy or whatever. So I wanted to make sure mine got out, and that's why I did sort of a late night unannounced premiere yesterday, because his video came out.
Well,
at 9 a.m.
let's talk about why it was so late coming out that night. Because
there were some technical issues going on with my particular hardware that I have not yet ironed out, and we'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, let's put it this way. All of us, we have our own little chat group that we have on
and you
iMessage.
all were sick of hearing this.
Yes. we kept hearing and seeing pictures of his,
pictures of broken up pictures,
and
stuff like
the entire, like 90% of the video would render flawlessly. And then you just get one section of the video where it's all like green pixels and all this bars, and the rest was fine. But it would just be that 1 second. And I'm like, why? But I don't know. The render gods eventually worked for me, so that was nice. But yeah, I mean that I have part of part 2 written. I mean, I wrote the whole thing from the first part to however many parts this comes out. So what I had to do is go back into that, pull that out, and make that into a sizable chunk. It's probably not. The following part is not going to be a half hour. I can tell you that, because that almost killed me. So we'll make them a little shorter. But I look forward to sharing more, and I'm very thankful for all the response and everything. Everybody who shared it and liked it and hasn't sent death threats my way. That's awesome.
That's
now,
always a plus.
Mike, is that Simon behind you there?
Yep.
Yeah.
Trying to breed with
I
the
can
iMac.
see that there is an official request there to remove that iMac from that chair. I can see there's a little formal request being given there. If you could please remove that computer.
I don't think it's going to matter. He'll still sleep on the
No,
arm.
he's going to still sleep on the armrest, I bet. That's what cats do.
I was going to say, Bruce, before you said
iMac's
that,
not the only thing on the chair. There's like a whole bunch of crap on the chair.
I was going to say, Bruce, you better want to say, make sure that Mike has pants on before he does that.
I
He 3D printed himself.
Yeah,
some
come on,
pants.
this is the new professional Mike.
do. What's that?
I said,
new
it's the new
professional
professional Mike.
Yeah, professional. That's why I look like crap. I look like I just got off of work. Oh yeah, I did.
You look better than your chair, so you're good.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, this thing was actually brand new when I bought it.
Was.
What,
I mean,
10
it
years
wasn't new.
ago?
I bought it at the thrift store, but it was like perfect. It was like the best chair I ever found at the Salvation Army thrift store, especially since it has a back massager in it.
I know,
Does
that's
the
why you
back massager
It
still
has
work?
done that to my chair. My whole chair is torn out. Well, you've seen it, Steve.
Yeah.
Does
Does it still massage?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Matter of fact, I
Nice.
was using it the other night because I pulled a muscle in my side getting into a car.
Lifting up the iMac.
Huh?
Lifting up an eMac will do that to you.
I don't have an Emax left.
Good. Did your health insurance lower? If they ask you a question, how many eMacs do you have in your collection?
Yeah.
All right, guys.
That's
So
a $50 extra premium right there.
So we're about to the end of the show tonight. So unless we got anything else we want to talk about, we could probably go ahead and end it here.
No,
you
I
guys
got
anything?
nothing else. This was just a loosely informal, let's just wing it because if we don't, Trina's going to yell at us kind of show. So
Yeah. So we're going to extend the PowerPC/68K challenge till next week, and we'll probably talk a little bit more about our hopefully more participation in it this week.
Yes.
I am going to go.
I will definitely be making an effort. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
I'm going to go
Yeah,
download that AquaTube at least, and I'm going to give that a shot because I want to try that. I have the G5's already powered up behind me, so I'm going to give that a little try there. We'll see how that goes. All right, guys. So we appreciate you guys showing up tonight. Also, huh? No, yes,
So
we do.
appreciate everybody showing up tonight, and I said, no, we don't.
Why don't we appreciate them?
No,
Huh?
we love
Because
our
they interrupted
crazy
my
Mac
dinner,
family.
damn it.
Oh, no.
No, we did that to you, Mike.
That's
sorry.
right. We did
Yes.
that.
I
Not
don't
our
think we
not
did
our
that.
audience. All right, guys.
Just before we end, anybody check out the video I did and check out RMC's video. It's linked in my
Yes,
video.
they're both very good.
Thank you.
Yep.
Eat.
And Jay just put the Discord link in the chat, so go ahead and check out our Discord. It's growing every day. I think we have tons of users. The channel is growing. Actually, we have over 1,110, I think, or somewhere around there. So we've actually gained a lot more subscribers all of a sudden.
we'll
so
be catching up with Bruce soon enough.
hopefully.
Yeah.
We need to get Bruce's and Steve's viewers over here.
Yeah.
I'll get right
I
on.
do.
I know you
just
do.
love
I know
those
you do.
Even Bruce's viewers, too, you know.
Huh?
Unlike Dana, I actually do things.
Oh.
It's going to be an interesting night of Unreal Tournament now.
Ooh. Data's going to be
Are we
like,
going to set
leave
that
me
up now,
alone.
or are we going to make everybody wait?
No, we could set that up tomorrow night at what? What time do we want to do it at?
I'm not available tomorrow night.
Preferably at
I'm
some
always
reasonable time, not
I'm always good
morning.
after 10.
10 p.m. Eastern?
I won't be able to make it.
What?
Yeah.
Why don't
What?
we play it by ear and announce it
All
on
right.
Discord?
All right, we'll do
Yeah,
that.
there we go. Good idea.
Probably going to be around 10 p.m., maybe Eastern time-ish. So we'll see. All right, guys. So we're going to go call it a night tonight. And we appreciate everybody watching. And hopefully we'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Watching.
Bye.
Adios.